Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. I have one of my favorite people on the show today and her entire entourage with Deck The Runway. It's Francesca Watson is back. We're going to talk about her event, Deck The Runway, and we have some very talented human beings here with us as well. We have Brittni Schmit, Raelia Lewis, and Anton LaRosa. Welcome to all of you. How are you today?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Good.
I'm doing great.
Everyone. So we're going to get into origin story and a little bit of background on each of you, but I want to start with you, Francesca. For those of you who don't know, Francesca's been on the show several times with another event. Loved every second of it. Gosh, we had a whole bunch of creatives, and you know when you bring a whole bunch of creatives together, it's always fun. But tell them a little bit about you, Francesca, kind of your background story, and then we will take a deep dive into everybody else.
So my name is Francesca Watson. I'm a self-taught fashion designer and the founder of Deck The Runway, a holiday fashion show for emerging designers. This is a 4th-year event happening on December 3rd. And we would love to see you guys come out and celebrate the holidays. And if you're into fashion, it's definitely an event that you don't want to miss.
Look at you. And were you always into fashion growing up, Francesca, or do you have other passions beforehand?
I've definitely always been into fashion. I would get in trouble for cutting my mom's curtains down and making clothes out of them. So that's a story I always like to tell. So
I bet she loves that story to this day. Probably love that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to keep going. If you can, I'm just going to go to my right. I'm going to start with Brittni Schmit. Brittni, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, Ted. Yes, thank you so much for having me. So my origin story, I'll try to give the 5-minute version here. But it came out of me as a new mom, just really wanting to be intentional with how I spend my time. So I heard a lot of stories about new moms, really even getting to the point where after their kids went off to elementary school, they had to relearn who they were and even like what their favorite ice cream was. So they kind of lost themselves in motherhood. And so I started off, I wanted to do things that really made me feel excited and made me come alive. And so when my son was 9 months old, I entered a beauty pageant. So the Mrs. Wyoming pageant, and that was 2018. And part of that pageant was an interview. And it's interesting that we're doing an interview today because my downfall of that show was the interview. I got best in Best Fitness, Longest Married, Mrs. Congeniality, but I didn't get the crown because of that interview. And it really spurred me on this journey to figure out, okay, how can I learn how to talk to people, how to just do this thing of not being afraid to talk to people and answer questions on the fly. And so started reading a lot of self-help books, and a couple of them suggested going into network marketing. And so I tried that for a few years. And from a personal growth standpoint, it was great. But from a financial standpoint, terrible. Just for me personally, it was a terrible experience. But what I learned was that it gave me the just kind of that foundation to start wanting to run my own business, to the point where a business coach of mine suggested, why don't you try fashion? And what I realized was, yeah, but I don't want to sell somebody else's fashion. I want to make my own designs. Right. And so it was shortly after that that I realized how much of a pain in the butt jumpsuits are to go to the bathroom in. And so yes, you ladies, you know. Yeah. And so I found a creative way to solve this problem. And so I created my Amelia line of jumpsuits that you don't have to take all the way off to use the bathroom. And so it's just spurred on this journey of making these products and seeing what this business could be.
I love that. And I know for a fact, even though I don't wear jumpsuits, but my wife has had to call me in the restroom at events. Yes. And she had a jumpsuit on. So that's really cool. I love that. Thank you. And we're welcoming Melissa on. Melissa, we will get to you in just a minute. Hi, Melissa. Thank you. I'm going to just keep going in kind of this order that I see. Anton LaRosa, tell us about you.
Yes. First off, thank you for having me today. Yeah, so my background, I started designing around 2017. Um, I don't know, I kind of just woke up. I said, I want a sewing machine. And it was around Christmas time. And my mom had asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I was like, I think I want a sewing machine. And then that's what I got for Christmas. And
Gotta love mom for that.
yeah, so she's kind of like the one who got me started. But I used to work for a club, and I would always make costumes for myself. So and I kind of got to thinking one day, I kind of want my own brand. And so I started watching YouTube videos and just learned a lot from there and watching other people. And
how did you know what you wanted to make? How did you know what to focus on? We've got Brittni with the jumpsuits. What about Anton?
I look at a fabric, I throw it on the mannequin, I drape it, and it just comes out as a dress, I guess.
So your fashion is for women?
Yes, mostly women. I've made stuff for men as well, but it's challenging.
I agree.
Dudes, most people don't like color. They don't understand fabric. I'm lucky because my wife dresses me, so I've got all the crazy. I can't really tell because it's dark, but I've got an orange pocket square and orange shoes. So there are guys out there that like color, but I can understand why it would be easier for you to make women, because women will be adventurous and men tend
that's what I've noticed.
Be adventurous. Yeah. So good for you. So you have your own line like Brittni?
I do. So Anton LaRosa is actually my my fashion line. And I've done shows here in Denver, and it's kind of got me to where I am now. And Deck The Runway had seen one of my posts on Instagram, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you, if you're interested, come join us for this show?" And I researched it, and I was like, "It's in Orlando," and right away I said, "Yes, I'll do it." Because it's my very first out-of-state show that I'm gonna do, so I'm very thankful and excited. Yeah, for sure.
Well, welcome. We appreciate that. All right.
Thank you so much.
Brittni, Anton, and now we have Raelia Lewis. Hey. Tell us about you and tell us what your role is, what your why is for Deck The Runway.
So I am a model. I've been modeling for like 10 plus years. I went into writing. I became an author. And I was also on the 21st cycle of America's Next Top Model in 2014, which is how I got connected to Francesca, who actually hired me and flew me out to be a host for one of her seasons of Deck The Runway, I believe. I don't know which season it was because it was probably around 2016. But we stayed connected. We had a great time. We definitely got along well. And she flew me back out a few years ago, right before the pandemic, to model for Deck The Runway as well. So I decided to release a masterclass to help models really find their way, to help develop them and to help them become more than just models. And I contacted Francesca and asked her could I sponsor this year's Deck The Runway event. So we've been connected and working together for a really long time. And this is my first time not being a model or a host and just being like an entrepreneur and a sponsor for her events.
Tell me about the masterclass. I'm fascinated by that. My wife and my daughters, I know enough about America's Next Top Model and all of that good stuff. And I feel like that a lot of times models and even fashionistas like all of you are, don't have the support and don't really know. And it's very hard to maneuver through the modeling fashion world because there's a lot of snake oil salespeople out there. So what is one of the things that you teach, if you can just tell us something that most models make a mistake when they are getting into the business. Probably that's part of your master class.
I teach everything, but my main course or premise is self-reliance, because I think that so many models are interested in like finding an agent and just constantly collaborating. And sometimes you won't have support. You won't have anybody to teach you how to book or how to develop yourself. So I literally walk models through lighting, through angles, through posing. I also teach them how to do makeup, how to arrive to castings. We talk about comp cards and Polaroids, how to shoot your digitals. I literally discuss everything. Like, this is very, very particular. I talk about eyebrows and under eyes and makeup, because these are things I had to learn through trial and error, and they can really make the difference in you getting placed and also you actually booking. And as a Black model, I've always had to learn things from trial and error. So I thought about, how can I help models make it who don't have anyone to pull them up? Because I literally had no one to pull me up. I had no one to develop me. And that's why I had so many trials and errors throughout my career. So everything that I've learned, even down to launching my own businesses and shooting my own products. I'm a photographer. I do a little bit of video. I build websites. I learned all of this because I had no one to teach me. And there were a lot of times where I just didn't know what was next. So I decided to use my silent seasons to kind of be my launch pad and learn how to be diverse. So I do just about everything. And the masterclass is just me telling everybody how to do everything from marketing, Facebook ads, to branding, photography, to how to be a model and how to book, and even some of my strategies that I use to get work.
Love it. I think that is, education's everything, right?
Yeah.
No matter what your industry is. And it can be really hard, especially if you have a passion, but have no idea how to do the business side of it. So kudos to you. All right, Melissa, last but not least, is it Melissa Breaux?
Breaux.
Tell us.
It's Melissa Breaux.
Hi, Melissa. Welcome. All right. So tell us a little bit about your origin story and why you're involved in Deck the Runway.
Okay. My first, I started a fashion career after I raised my kids and got them out of the house. I had some wise advice of doing something for me. So I started a brand. And then I took care of my dad. And after taking care of my dad, he passed away in 2019. I decided that I was going to, if I didn't do a fashion line, then it was never going to happen. And so I went in not knowing a whole lot of what I was doing. I put everything I had into my models because I know that is more important to me than anything, is making sure that they have what they need to succeed. And I connected with this one model, and she actually came up to me with tears in her eyes and told me, "Thank you for picking me, because if you didn't pick me, nobody would." Because she was plus and African American, and I don't accept that. That is, I mean, it's there, and that's not the that should happen ever. And so I went from not knowing what my purpose was going to be was to making sure that nobody in the fashion world feels that way. And so I tried to do apparel for all is my tagline. And I will only do from now on,
Melissa froze for a second there. Let's see if she comes back. Francesca, while she's there, tell us
from
about
actually a while back.
Oh, there she
that
is.
Is what is at the core of my brand, is making sure that I do apparel for all. So
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so
right.
Sorry. Did you
You're
get
good.
any of that?
You're totally good. We got it. Apparel
Okay.
for all. And I think that is something, it's maybe not a misconception, but it's certainly unfortunate that in the fashion world, we all look at one type of person that's the model, one size fits all, and that's just not the way it is. So apparel for all is such a positive message.
Yeah.
So thank you. All right, Francesca, tell us, where can we get tickets? Where can we find out more? How can we find these amazing artists? And how can people get involved in Deck the Runway?
Oh, yeah. So there's so much going on for Deck the Runway 2022. And before we go forward, I do want to say that there are 7 designers. Obviously, we couldn't fit them all here, but there's also Raelia Lewis. She's an Indian-inspired designer. inspired by Indian elements. She's got some beautiful pieces that she'll be showcasing. Also, Matthew T. Mucha from Little Big Shots. He'll be actually joining us again, the 10-year-old fashion designer.
Yep, we had him on last time, right?
Right. So he's so talented. I'm glad that he decided to actually do Deck the Runway this year as well. The event will be on December 3rd at the Caribbean Royale in Orlando, Florida. Be hosted by Lyrica Anderson. She's a reality television star and a singer-songwriter. She's wrote songs for some big artists like Beyonce and Demi Lovato.
Wow.
Also, Claire Summers from Fashion Bomb Daily will be joining us as well. Raelia will be a virtual judge. So happy I can talk her into doing that. Because this year we're going to be presenting a Model of the Year award for the first year ever, giving away Raelia's amazing masterclass. Yes. So lucky to the model who gets that. We'll also be giving away a Producer's Choice Award. Alyssa Ragu from American Idol will be coming back and performing to open the show as well. I love her. So there's just a lot of excitement surrounding the event. I'm so excited about it.
I'm excited. December 3rd.
December 3rd. So if you want to get tickets, you can get tickets on Eventbrite up into November 29th at 11:59 p.m.
And you can just, if you have Eventbrite, you can go to Deck the Runway 2022 Holiday Fashion Event, but I'm sure you can find Deck the Runway. You'll be able to locate it. We've got it scrolling there, but we'll also put it in the comments below. I love these kinds of events. I'm super excited. I love passion like you all expressed. Francesca, Brittni, Anton, Raelia, and Melissa, thank you for being on the show. Deck the Runway. You guys love fashion. We all love fashion. I don't know anything about it, but I know what I like. And I think it takes a lot of courage to share your passion and get out there and be your authentic self. So thank you guys so much. Francesca, that was fantastic.
Thank you for letting us on your show again.
Thank you so much.
You guys are always welcome. Each of you are welcome anytime. Get out there, get involved. December 3rd, Deck the Runway. We'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.